Alright, so let's proceed naman sa ating code provisions. Okay, now dito sa Pilipinas, ang governing code natin dito is the National Structural Code of the Philippines or the NCP 2015. So for this subject matter, ang pinaka focus lang natin dito is only the chapter 4 structural concrete. So the NCP is based mainly on the ACI 318. So when we say ACI, ibig sabihin lang nito is the Building Code Requirements for Structural Concrete. So yung ACIs, this stands for American Concrete Institute. So yung ating NCP 2015 Chapter 4, dito natin binase dito sa ating American Code. Okay, so bakit nga ba natin kailangan ng code? So, because codes provide minimum requirements for safety. So, yun lang naman yung pinaka-emphasis kung bakit tayo gumagamit ng code provision is to provide, of course, of the safety. So, hindi tayo nagde-design based on feeling or pakiramdaman. Hindi rin tayo pwedeng magsabi na parang okay na to. In terms of structural design, we must follow a code provisions, which is this is to ensure safety. At the same time, it give us confidence so that the our structural design is well designed, and also it will keep the occupants safe. So kapag nagde-design decision tayo, so of course we need a basis, no? So sabi ko nga kanina, para makapagbigay nga ng confidence. So either from the NSCP or the ACI or the accepted engineering principles. So yeah, ito yung pinakagagamitin natin all throughout in our discussion for the reinforced concrete design. Of course, using the NSCP 2015. Next, let's proceed naman sa design philosophies. So actually, we have two design philosophies na pinapagamit sa atin, or we are having a two design methods that allowed by the NCP 2015. So first is what you call working stress design or the WSD. Next naman is yung tinatawag na ultimate strength design or tinatawag na USD. So explain natin kung bakit nga ba itong dalawang design methods ang pwede nating gamitin. So kapag sinabi nating WSD, working stress design, ibig sabihin lang nito working loads or service loads ang ginagamit. Usually in terms of elastic behavior ang basis natin. While sa ating USD, factored loads naman ang ginagamit. And strength is reduced using strength reduction factors. So, of course, ang pinaka-focus lang natin dito is using the ultimate strength design. Okay, so ganito yung idea. So, when we are using USD, loads are increased using load factors. Ibig sabihin lang nito, class, kapag nalaman na natin kung gaano kabigat or gaano yung degree ng load natin, so pwede natin siyang pataasin. So usually, we are using on what you call load factors. So later on, I will discuss it kung bakit gumagamit nga ba tayo ng mga several load factors, okay? Pero kapag pinataas na natin yung kanyang load factors, of course, dapat yung i-design natin dito is hindi siya magre-reach doon sa mismong load factors. Ayaw natin kasi nasagarin yung buong strength kapag na-design na natin yung structural members na yon. That's why we are using on what you call strength reduction factors or tinatawag na phi. Okay? So usually in this principle of the ultimate strength design, ang ginagawa lang natin dito is ultimate strength should be less than or equal to the strength reduction factor multiplied by a nominal strength. So kapag sinabi nating nominal strength, this is now the reduced, okay? This is now the reduced value of the load coming from our ultimate strength or coming from our design strength. Kumbaga, same lang siya with the working stress design. Ang purpose lang dito, class, para makapag-design tayo, pinapahina natin or pinapahina lang natin yung strength so that kapag niload na natin yung mismong actual load doon sa structural members, hindi basta-basta mabibigla yung ating structural members. Kasi let's say, parang ganito lang yan, bigyan ko kayo ng analogy. for example, leg squats. Ayan, sa gym, no? So, kapag nag-leg squats kayo, so of course, may capacity yan kung gaano lang yung kaya ninyong ibuhat, no? So, let's say, ako, kaya kong mag-squats ng 100 kilograms. So, yun yung capacity ko. Kaso, kapag gagawin ko na siya repeatedly, so hindi ko siya gagawing 100. Kasi kapag tinuloy-tuloy ko siya ng 100 in many repetitions, possible na mag-fail yung body ko kapag tinuloy ko siya ng 100. So para at least continuous kong mabuhat yung, let's say, yung barbell in squats, ang gagawin ko, i-reduce ko yung weight. So, from 100 kilograms na yun yung mismong capacity ko or yun yung mismong personal best ko, i-reduce ko siya, let's say, 80 kilogram, 70 kilogram, 60 kilogram, para at least kapag tuloy-tuloy yung aking pag-i-squat is continuous pa rin siya hanggang ma-reach niya na yung feeling capacity kapag yun nga, kapag nag-i-squat. So, ganun din dito pagdating natin sa dalawang strength design methods. So, ulitin ko, working strength design, pinapahina lang natin using factor of safety. Kapag ultimate strength design, ang ginagawa naman natin dito, ina-amplify muna natin, pinapataas muna natin yung load capacity, and then, tsaka lang natin siya babawasan using strength reduction factors. So, in this involvement ng ating mga strengths, palagi niyong tatandaan may dalawa tayong klaseng strength. Ultimate or design strength and the nominal strength. So later on, paulit-ulit natin siyang babanggitin sa lahat ng internal reactions. Alright, so let's have the design philosophies. So in this case, we have two types of problem that can arise in the study of reinforced concrete. So actually, dalawa lang yan, no? So una, yung tinatawag na analysis. So sa analysis, given yung section or yung reinforcement ng ating structural member, tapos given yung dimensions, rebar, concrete strength, steel strength, tapos ang hinahanap natin dito is yung capacity. So kapag sinabi natin capacity, for example, ang beam section natin, let's say pinapakompute sa atin yung moment. So ibig sabihin lang nun sa moment is ko-convert natin siya into varying load. Okay? Kumbaga, ang hinahanap natin dito, gaano kalakas yung kayang i-carry ng ating section. Yun lang yung ibig sabihin sa analysis. Yung next one naman is yung tinatawag na design, baliktad naman. And also, ito yung common na nagaganap sa mga design industries. So, ibig sabihin lang nito, ang given naman dito is loading. Okay? So, loading yung given coming from our beam. Okay? Coming from our beam, and then, i-design natin siya kung gaano kalaki yung bakal, gaano kadami yung bakal na gagamitin natin, gaano kalaki yung spacing na gagamitin natin sa mga stirrups, etc. So, given naman yung loading dito sa design portion natin. So, palagi nyo tatandaan, kapag sinabi nating analysis, check the capacity. Kapag sinabi nating design, we need to provide a required section or reinforcement. So, before we proceed on the design, we need to know the loads. So, alam naman natin from our theory of structures, I already discussed on what you call the load cases. So, we have three common load cases here: the dead load, live load, and environmental load. So, let's have a recap for our load cases that we discussed from the theory of structures. When we say dead load is a permanent, so kasama na dito yung self-weight ng structures, finishes, walls, roofing, and fixed component. So, in short, yung mga hindi gumagalaw na loads natin. Yung mga permanent structures or mga permanent items na naka-install dun sa ating structural system. The next one naman is what you call live loads. So, live load changes. So, of course, kasama na dito yung people, furniture, equipments, vehicles, and movable loads. Actually, live load, technically speaking, this is just a movable load. Pwede mo siyang ilipat, or yung weight na pwede mo siyang ilipat or i-relocate somewhere else in the area of your structure. Then lastly, environmental loads. So when we say environmental loads, this is include wind, earthquake, rain, and temperature effects. Kumbaga, ito yung mga external factors that can be influence our structure in terms of loading. So sa design, hindi lang natin kinukuha ang isang load, no? So kumbaga in actual ano naman talaga, in actual structure hindi lang nag-exist or hindi lang dead load yung nasa kanya, hindi lang live load alone yung nasa kanya, and hindi lang environmental loads alone yung nararanasan niyan. Actually, these three uh, common load cases, lahat yan nararanasan ng ating structure. So hindi natin yan di lang natin yan basta-basta kinukuha as a single load. So we combine it using a code prescribed load combination. So in this matter or in this discussion, ang goal natin dito is to identify the governing load or worst load combinations. So however, paano nga ba natin malalaman yung mga load combinations na yon? So by using this provision. So this is the first part of our NSCP load combinations that we need to use here. So first is the load combination using strength design or load and resistance factor design. So ibig sabihin lang nito, under the section 203.3 and the section 203.3.1, ang ibig sabihin lang nito, lahat ng load cases na nararanasan ng inyong structure, you need to substitute in these 7 equations. Okay? So, these 7 equations, you need to substitute it para malaman mo kung ano yung magiging critical effects or kung ano yung magiging governing load natin. Okay? So, of course, recap lang tayo sa mga variables na nakikita ninyo. D stands for dead load. F stands for load due to fluids with well-defined pressures and maximum heights or tinatawag na fluid load. T stands for self-straining force resulting from construction, expansion, creep, leakage, differential settlement, or temperature change or tinatawag na temperature load. Then L stands for live load, of course. H stands for load due to lateral earth pressure, groundwater pressure, or pressure of bulk materials. Or sa madaling salita, ang H stands for soil load. Then L sub R, this is roof live load. R stands for rain load. W stands for wind load. E stands for earthquake load. And F sub 1, as you can see here in this load combinations natin, this is just only the live load factor as specified in this section 203.3.1. But of course, ang pinakagagamitin lang natin dito for the value of our F sub 1 is always 0.5. Later on, I will showcase sa ating mga sample problem. Okay, so ibig sabihin lang nito, when you are using ultimate strength design, of course, ang gagamitin mong load combinations na to ay itong 7 load combos natin. So, ang goal lang natin dito, kapag given yung mga load cases na binanggit sa problem or in actual scenario, you need to substitute in the 7 equations. Then, you need to just get the most critical effect. When you say most critical effect, ibig sabihin lang nito, you are getting the largest value from the 7 equations. Alright, if we are having a load combination for the USD, of course, meron naman din tayo for the WSD. However, in the WSD, we have here the section 203.4, load combinations using allowable stress or allowable strength design. So dito naman pumapasok ang mga basic load combination under the section 203.4.1, which is ito naman ang gagamitin mong load combinations from the load cases para naman kay working stress design or tinatawag na allowable strength design. Kung mapapansin ninyo kanina sa definition natin ng USD, ang ginagamit natin dito is tinatawag ng mga factored loads. Ibig sabihin lang nito, yung raw strength or yung raw load na makocompute mo in totality, ang ginagawa lang natin dito is ina-amplify natin. Mas pinapataas pa natin yung kanyang carrying capacity. However, pagdating natin sa WSD or the allowable strength design, we are just simply combining it or we are just adding this load cases natin. Kumbaga wala tayo ditong ginagamit dito na masyadong na increasing factor, no? So, except lang dito sa 0.75 and 0.6 or the 1 over 1.4. Okay? So, ibig sabihin lang nito, as is lang natin ina-add using the allowable strength design or the working stress design. Unlike with the LRFD or the USD, ang ginagawa lang natin dito is mas ina-amplify natin so that we can anticipate what is our ultimate load so that madedesign natin siya according with its requirements. Okay, so let's proceed with our next portion, which is on what you call the reinforcement details. Okay? So now, kahit tama yung computation mo, hindi pa rin automatic na okay ang design. So bakit? Because reinforcement detailing matters. So kahit tama naman yung number of rebars na nako-compute mo, tama naman yung dimensions na nako-compute mo, pero in terms of detailing, we need to of course conform the structural code. So may mga minimum spacing requirements tayo na ginagamit especially in our rebars. May ginagamit din tayong required na concrete cover and the spacing ng mga bakal natin. So may mga ginagamit talaga tayo ditong code provisions in order to comply them. So using these code provisions, which is the section 425.2 minimum spacing of reinforcement, these are the following spacing that we need to understand. So of course, it has a 3 paragraphs na kailangan nating intindihin. So let's have the section 425.2.1. So sabi dito, for parallel non-pre-stress reinforcement in a horizontal layer, clear spacing shall be at least the greatest of the 50 millimeter diameter of rebar, yung D sub B, and the 4/3 of the diameters of aggregate. So ibig sabihin lang nito in this provision, ang ginagawa natin is kinukuha natin yung clear spacing between the rebar. So actually, it has a simplified version as you can see here in our code provision. So kung alin dito sa tatlong factors na ito, ang pinakamalaki, yan yung ginagamit natin as our clear spacing for our horizontal reinforcement. By the way, kapag sinabi natin clear spacing, ang ibig sabihin lang nito, hindi siya center to center. Hindi siya dulo to dulo. Ibig sabihin lang nito, yung internal spacing adjacent doon sa next rebar mo. As you can see, hindi naman siya nasa gitna, no? So, hindi naman siya nasa gitna, hindi naman din outside yung measurement, kundi inside or internally. So, yan yung ating first paragraph of the revision. So, second one naman is the section 425.2.2 for parallel non-pre-stress reinforcement placed in 2 or more horizontal layers of reinforcement in the upper layer shall be placed directly above the reinforcement in the bottom layer with a clear spacing between layers of at least 25 millimeters. So, ano nga bang ibig sabihin na to, no? So, na itong second provision natin. So, kanina, which is this one, yung isang layer na ito, etong layer of horizontal reinforcements natin, ito yun, no? So, which is yung ating first paragraph. May spacing for that. Kaso, yung sinasabi doon sa second paragraph of our code provision, ang ibig sabihin lang yan, spacing naman siya doon sa next layer mo. Sa ating sample dito sa ating beam, meron tayo ditong dalawang layer, no? So first layer yung nasa baba, second layer naman yung nasa itaas. Ngayon, ano ngayon yung magiging minimum spacing natin or minimum clear spacing between these two layers? So just simply at least 25 mm. Kapag sinabi natin by the way na at least, ibig sabihin hindi ka na pwedeng bumaba ng 25 mm. So you can use 30, you can use 40, you can use 50 as long as hindi ka na bababa ng 25 mm on the next succeeding line or layer of your reinforcement. By the way, clear spacing pa rin yung pinag-uusapan natin. And then last one for our minimum spacing of reinforcement, for longitudinal reinforcement in columns, pedestal, strut, and boundary elements in walls, clear spacing between bars shall be at least the greatest of 40 mm, 1.5 of the diameter of your rebar, and 4/3 of the aggregate. Actually, in relationship with with the first paragraph that I discussed earlier, ito naman ay spacing pa rin siya, pero kung kanina sa beam ang pinag-uusapan natin, this time around ito naman ay para sa column. Okay? So clear spacing siya para sa column. So ibig sabihin lang nito, this is the greatest of the 40 millimeter, 1.5 of the diameter of the rebar, and the 4/3 of the aggregate. So alin dito sa tatlong factors, yung pinakamalaki, yan yung gagamitin natin, at least clear spacing para sa mga columns. Okay? So importante yan when we are determining what is the minimum dimension sa kailangan natin gamitin when we are designing a structural members. Okay, so okay na tayo sa spacing of reinforcement. Let's proceed naman on the next detailing, which is what you call the concrete cover. So kapag sinabi natin concrete cover class, ang ibig sabihin lang nito, this is just the clear spacing between your reinforcement hanggang doon sa outside face ng ating structural members, or should I say yung distance ng rebar mo hanggang doon sa labas ng ating structural member, kasi nga alam naman natin na ang steel is subjected to corrosion. Kung maglalagay tayo ng rebar tapos yung rebar natin nakasagad doon sa ilalim, let's say andito yung rebar natin, no? Nakasagad siya dito sa mismong ilalim, ang ibig sabihin lang niyan is probably exposed na siya sa corrosion yung ating steel reinforcement. At the same time, malaki ang chance na mag-fail right away yung ating structural members in concrete. Kasi nga, nakakaranas ng corrosion, ibig sabihin humihina yung kanyang tensile strength or the yielding strength. Okay? That's why importante din sa ating detailing na mag-consider tayo ng tinatawag na concrete cover. In construction, ang tawag natin dito is concrete spacer. Gumagamit tayo ng mga ganitong preformed na concrete. So this is to support our rebar, so that kapag binuhos na yung ating fresh concrete is may distance pa rin, no, between the rebar and also the concrete. Ano nga ba yung mga specific na mga concrete cover na ginagamit? So actually, this is presented by a section 420.6.1.3 specified concrete cover requirements, and under this section 420.6.1.3.1, non-pre-stressed cast-in-place concrete member shall have specific concrete cover of reinforcement at least, so at the very minimum, that is given in table 420.6.1.3.1. So ibig sabihin, providing this table, ito na po yung mga specified concrete covers in millimeter. So of course, depende sa concrete exposure. But in this topic, we will focus only on not exposed to weather or in contact with ground. Kasi nga, dito papasok lahat ng ating structural members, beams, columns, pedestals, and tension ties. Or should I say beams and columns. So of course, for our primary reinforcement sa lahat ng rebars, sa lahat ng stirrups, sa lahat ng ties, ang ginagamit natin dito na minimum na concrete cover is 40 mm. So always remember, kapag hindi siya given sa problem, yung ating concrete cover is always 40 mm unless stated. Okay, so one aspect in our detailing is the computation of the minimum beam width. So lahat ng ating minimum spacing that we discussed earlier, so kailangan din natin siyang i-compute yung minimum beam width natin. So of course, this is dependent on the rebar diameter, stirrup diameter, concrete cover that we explained earlier, clear spacing, and the number of rebar. So, bakit nga ba importante to? Kasi hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na, okay, sige, lagyan natin ng madaming bakal. So, kailangan kung hindi siya kasya sa ating beam width, of course, hindi siya constructible already. So, sa design, we need to ask ourselves, number 1, safe nga ba? Number 2 is code compliant ba? Number 3 is constructible pa. Kung hindi constructible, hindi good yung ating design. That's why we already, or I have presented here a computation or a formula Okay? Para makuha natin yung minimum beam width according with our reinforcement detail. So, ibig sabihin lang nito, you need to get all of the total dimensions or the spacing that we discussed earlier. Okay? So, first, galing dito sa dulo, you have concrete cover. Pangalawa, diameter of stirrups. And then, how many rebars that you have here in the first layer. Kasi nga, kung ilan yung number ng ating rebar sa ating first layer, babawasan mo siya ng isa para naman doon sa clear spacing ng ating mga horizontal reinforcements. And then, proceed ka ulit sa diameter of stirrups and then sa ating concrete cover. So once we total that, ito ang gagamitin mong formula. Dalawang concrete cover plus dalawang stirrups plus n minus 1 ng clear spacing multiplied sa number of rebars. Then, of course, kailangan din natin ng effective depth, no? Sa effective depth, later on, I will further elaborate, pero ang ibig sabihin lang ng effective depth is the distance from the compression up to the center of your reinforcement. Kumbaga, distance ng compression papunta sa tension, which is later on kasi magagamit natin dito yung tinatawag na Barignon's theorem kasi nga may mga irregular arrangements tayo especially in our main reinforcement. So to summary the today's discussion, once again, concrete is strong in compression but weak in tension. Steel is strong in tension and provides ductility. Reinforced concrete works because concrete and steel complement each other. So in our design, we must follow the National Structural Code of the Philippines, especially the Chapter 4 for the structural concrete. Then, all throughout in our design, we will use the ultimate strength design where the loads are factored and the strength is reduced. And then before we solving design problems, we must understand the loads, materials property, code provisions, and reinforcement detailing. So the next slide here is all about the sample problems in our overall in our discussion earlier, especially in the computation of the maximum load combination and the minimum beam width and the effective depth.